So welcome everybody. And this is the launching of my book, Lead with a Coaching Mindset. I think it looks pretty good. It took the whole process to decide on the cover. I really like it. And this is my book number 11. But each book was a different project. And I want to share with you some of the information you will not find in the book. How does it sound? So this is what I want to share with you, some stories or something, what is in the background of writing a book. And this book has been completely different than the other books that I wrote for different reasons. Number one, this is directed to a much bigger audience than the other books. Most of my other books are related to coaching and are targeted to coaches and coaching supervisors and mentor coaches in Spanish and English. But this is the first book that I read for leaders. I wrote the book first in Spanish. The book was published a year ago. It was called Liderazgo para los tiempos actuales. And the idea with this book was to interview some of my clients and some of the leaders that I was working with to share, to learn from them about what were their challenges and how coaching may contribute to their work as leaders. And I decided to share all of my experience working. I was sharing before at the beginning when we started with Roland, who is here, who was working with my leader when I was working in my internship at the Eighth Healthcare Foundation 30 years ago when I did my first training on leadership, that I wanted to articulate all of my experience working with leaders and training leaders worldwide with the ICF Core Competency Framework. So basically, this book presents the 8 competencies in 10 different chapters, and each chapter is one of the ICF core competencies. So these are the same competencies I use to train coaches, and some here are my graduates from my program, so great to have you here. And articulate that to the work of leadership and to the work of leaders. And how can leaders, without being professional coaches, they can still be coach-like, develop a coaching mindset, focus on developing their people, and apply these competencies. So this book is about how we can do things. It's about application, it's not theory. And I use interviews from some of my clients. I use some of my personal experience. And at the end, leaders who are going to read this book are going to be able to put in practice many strategies and skills that will support them in their work. So this is the premise about the book. Now, how this book was developed is a whole process, and the word here is collaboration. The key word is like all of this required a lot of collaboration. All of my books require collaboration, but this I think is the one that I collaborated with the most people. So a lot of people who are here in one way or another supported me in the process in different ways. And it's interesting because when I wanted to look for a publisher for the book, I started asking my friends and colleagues, where should I go? And I hope that this can also inspire some of you. I'm looking here, some of my friends who also have published books, like Patricia. I know that you have published books in the past, but maybe you want to go to the next level. So this is going to the next level of publishing. So I asked some of my friends and colleagues, where should I go? And I see here Akim. So Akim Novak, who is a friend and colleague, he told me you need to go to Berrett-Koehler. I think that they can be a good publisher for you. So we start looking who we know that had published at Berrett-Koehler. And my friend Marcia Reynolds was very successful, wrote several books. So I contacted Marcia and I said, Marcia, I have translated the book. I wanted to publish with Berrett-Koehler. Will you introduce me? And she did. So Marcia, thank you very much. She also wrote my foreword for the book. So I asked her to, and by the way, this is the coincidence in life. The 2 times that I received the books at home, she was in my place visiting. So she was the one who recorded my book, my opening my book in Spanish and opening my book in English, in the English version, in the 2 books. She was at home supporting me in that process. So Marcia, I'm going to ask you to say a few words. And she introduced me to Neal, who is here. And with Neal, he supported me through the process. I had to write the proposal. So if you want to, for people who are interested in writing a book, you need to prepare a marketing proposal. And that is a process. And it's very challenging, and you really need to assure that the book will be of value. And so Marcia provided me feedback, other people also provided feedback. So finally, we had a few conversations with Neal. We went back and forth, and finally, the book is here. And, I am going to ask Neal also to say a few words about his experience. I hope that most of the time, you told me that I was coach like most of the time working with you, but I don't think 100% of the time. So we can talk about that too. And then there is a whole process. Once that the book, there is a deadline for you to submit the last version. And then there are three people that Berrett-Koehler sent the book to provide feedback. And one of them was Andrea, who is here too. And Andrea sent me, the three people sent me feedback and was really helpful. But Andrea's feedback was the toughest. And I had to share, it was very humbling. Very, very humbling, but I think Andrea, I think I really appreciate that because it makes the book much stronger. And I asked Andrea also to say a few words about her experience in reviewing the book. So as you can see, there are several steps. Then I had to choose the cover. And I was going to go for a traditional cover, and then one of the options was this. And this is a little bit different. This is not like a traditional cover, when you see, this is a little bit more out there. I thought, well, I want to do something that is not like everything else. So we will play with it. And I think I really like it as it came out, but it's not like a common cover of a book. And so I am going to ask them who were, then Christy, also from Berrett-Koehler, who worked with me in all of the marketing strategies. As a result of that, I started a podcast. And I know some of you have the opportunity to listen to it. So the podcast is about the book, and every interview is a different leader that talks about the different competencies and their experiences. And I also had a campaign in LinkedIn, and basically my strongest campaign for the book was in LinkedIn. And Christy was next to me, supporting me in the process too. So I'm going to ask them to share a little bit about their experience. But before, I want to
Sure.
thank everybody who is here. And I don't want to name everybody by name because it's going to be too long. But my family is here. So it's very nice to see my parents are here, even their English is limited. My brothers are here, Arielito. And something that we started is a podcast with my family. So
Yeah.
in my family, we're all coaches. So we started a podcast. It's called Family of Coaches, Huellas. And we talk about different topics every week. And we are in for number 20. This is our 20 podcast. So for Spanish speakers, you can listen to it. And for people who don't speak Spanish, I think that YouTube it's in YouTube, so you can get the translation option. So
Oh.
let me be sure that I mute everybody so we don't hear all strange sounds. And I want to thank my family, my friends who are here, my colleagues, um, my people that I really care. And it's great to have you here. It means a lot that you can hear. Some of my clients, some of the participants of my current programs. So thank you for being here. Some of graduates from my programs, people who have been colleagues and friends for many years, and you being here make a big difference. So thank you. Thank you very much. So let's hear, I have like a brief agenda. I want to ask first, we have I can ask for order first to Neal, that he was the first phase for Berrett-Koehler to start the process. So Neal, do you want to say a few words about working with me, about this book, anything that you would like to share?
Sure. Well, it's been a wonderful experience. So I can definitely share that. And you mentioned, I guess the project being collaborative, and that's something, uh, if there's like a scale of 1 to 10 for authors in being collaborative, and publishing can be very adversarial, right? You write something, somebody tells you you should write something else, or you can need to do it differently, and then you come back and propose something different. So it's kind of designed to be adversarial. And a lot of authors kind of get into that kind of relationship. And Damian was like 11 on the, I guess, relationship collaborative scale, and it just made this project go so much more smoothly. And the book is about exactly how he kind of wrote the book. He partnered with us. He kind of created relationships with everybody on our staff working on the book. He used the term partnering in the book. I remember one of my first observations as an editor was that he uses partner as kind of a verb. And as I kind of read along in the book, I realized that, that concept wasn't, it was just sort of natural to him to think of it that way, but that wasn't something everybody, uses in a leadership book. So I remember kind of talking about that. It was a complicated project because the original version of this book in Spanish was very much in a COVID context, is my understanding. I couldn't read it in Spanish and kind of like use some of those insights to bring to the book. I'd say that my if I were to take any credit at all for what I could have done to help the book, it's to encourage Damien to put himself into it. Because I think what in his previous writing, I would say it was probably a little bit more like research based, academic. He's a very kind of senior psychologist who has quite a bit of professional standing. So that worked, I think, in his other books. But in this book, I really wanted to encourage him to give his experience as a coach, as a leader, as somebody being led. And he really just went the extra mile to bring in stories from other people, some, his clients, his colleagues, his fellow professors. And that now just exudes from the book, this sense that the book is almost like a shared experience, and it's such a deeply human book. For me, I guess the final thought I had, I was kind of rereading the book a bit this morning to try to kind of think about, well, what would the theme I would kind of bring to it. Um, there's quite a bit in the book about the how human beings bring their real selves to work. They bring their grief, they bring their families, they bring their joys, their sadness. And in a time like COVID or other types of political upheavals, people bring their anxiety, their fears. I've worked on a lot of books in my career. I don't know any other book that has done such a good job of creating a context for leaders on how to work with their colleagues and to partner with them, to have a relationship with them through all the ups and downs of life. And that may not sound like a business topic, but I'm quite certain it is that the leaders who get the best results from people are the leaders who treat their colleagues as human beings and really as partners. So I love this book. It's everything I hoped it would be when we read that proposal and kept sending Damien to kind of rework some of the ideas in the proposal. And I hope for the best. I want to point out, I went to the Amazon page. It's newly live. You can get a book overnight if you get there now. You would have the chance. Everybody in this room has the opportunity to be the very first reviewer on Amazon. So go on Amazon after this call and write your 5-star review and help us get this book in everybody's hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. It has been really great working with you. And I want also to thank, before when I was thanking people, I want to thank my partner who didn't turn on his camera, but he's in the background with the camera off. Steve, thank you for all of your support too. Even though you didn't turn your camera here, I'm glad to see you. You are in the next, you are part of this meeting today too. So, Marcia Reynolds, we met many years ago when I was in the global board of directors of the International Coaching Federation. And I don't know in what city of the world she came to do a training for the board. Meryl, you were there on storytelling
Atlanta.
in Atlanta. So we met there and then we became friends. We have a lot in common. We are also speakers. We belong to other association, the Association National Speakers Association. And you were very supportive. You didn't hesitate when I asked you for support. And this is the same thing that I want to do for my friends and colleagues. And I think I have done that for some people who are here, who ask me for Granica, for example, in Spanish, to publish books. So it makes a big difference. But also you learn from this experience who are the people who are supportive and who are not. But some people were not as supportive. So you cannot give that for granted, getting doors open and making connections with publishers. And so, Marcia, you have been very generous over the years. And you also wrote my forward. So, I really appreciate all of your support. And I would love you to hear from you a few words.
Sure. And I want to say that Neal isn't the easiest person to sell to, you know. But people come to me. Of course, a lot of people come to me and it's like, "How can I be published by Berrett-Koehler?" And I have to see their proposal first before I'd even waste Neal's time and to see, because I kind of know what he's looking for, but not always. But it wasn't a question with Damian. I can't read his book in Spanish either, Neal. But I know Damian. I know what he teaches, and what he believes in and what his values are. And, we've talked about his book and he knows, my books. And so I knew it was a value. But I also know that even my opinion doesn't always go, and still up to Neal. And he's very, he discerns. He's very discerning about what books he chooses to support. So I think that says the world about the quality of this book, that, having Neal's endorsement and what the wonderful things he said. Now, the interesting thing is, a lot of you may know me or of me, but don't know that for 16 years before I found coaching, I ran training departments with corporations, and I've been teaching leadership for 20 years. And and I know the difficulties, that you can teach leaders to do things and they try it and then they go back to old behavior. And I read this headline just this morning, and it says, "Why is it that so many leaders know what it is they're supposed to do, but there's still a whole bunch of jerks out there?" And, it's like really trying to understand what it takes. And I think Damian hit it right on the nose, that when you look at the coaching competencies, that if you don't start with the mindset and the values, and the rest of it is just, some practice that you're learning and you memorize some questions and you may be effective or not. But that you have to take in, that I really want to do this, there's integrity in the process. I respect the people that I'm with, which allows me to fully listen to them and to partner with them. And Damian does such a good job of looking at the values and the mindset first before getting into the skills. And that was what was always missing in the things I taught long before I was introduced to coaching to leaders was, you can give them skills, but that doesn't mean anything if it's not important to them, important enough to them, to really implement them, to change who they think they are in the process, from being an expert to being that partner coach. That's critical for their success. And Damian does a really good job in this book, and even then integrating it into the skills of the establishing trust and safety, the agreements of what are you listening for, and stay in that partnership through the entire process. And so I see great value in this, and bless you, Damian, because, I gave up working with leaders years ago and said, "Oh, forget it. I'm just working with coaches." I don't want to bother with them. So when Damian came along and with this, I'm like, yay for you, for putting this into a book and sending it out to the world, because it's really, really important, so I'm honored to be able to support you, Damian, in this process, and making sure that your book is well read all over this world.
Thank you, Marcia. I really appreciate that support very much. And yeah, this is the difference between this book and other books. This book will have worldwide reach. I think the other books that I have written over the year had a more limited reach. So now there is a process. There are different steps, and some people who are here also read the book before I send the final version to BK, and then BK send the book to 3 different people to review it and provide feedback. And one of them was Andrea Chilcote. And Andrea is here, and I asked her to say a few words about her experience. And with Andrea, we have a conversation and we realize we think alike in many different ways. She invited me to her podcast, and it was a privilege and an honor, Andrea, to be invited to be part of that. And I'm very thankful for your support for this book, because that all of your audience learned about the book. So, Andrea, thank you for being here and saying a few words. You're on mute.
So, Damian, thank you for having me here. And I am honored. I was honored to serve in this role with you. And we do have a lot in common. You know, you and I have dedicated a lot of our careers to helping leaders be better coaches, and it can be a frustrating process. I get why, Marcia, why you said that you like to just work with coaches now. So it was truly an honor to serve in this role. Offering you feedback, and you're a world-renowned coach, and you had a team of coaches, if you will, offering you feedback, and it takes a degree of humility to accept that, and to accept it the way you did, because you didn't just acknowledge it and say thank you. You said, I want to come back to you with some of these changes and have you read it again. Authors don't do that when I do this review process for Berrett-Koehler. That's just highly unusual. And it just speaks to the degree of, again, I would call it humility, that you have. And that is what coaches have to have. Because in order to adopt a coaching mindset, part of it is being open to development. That's one of the competencies of being open to growth and development. And what this says to me is that you embody the mindset that you write about, and it comes out in your words. It comes out in the book in its final form. And Neal spoke about that, how it's based on your practical experience. So this is a book that is not philosophical. This is a book that is both a how-to manual and a food for thought, for reflection on how one shows up as a leader every day. So I am really, really grateful that that's out there for individuals who want to be better at this. And, Neal, you talked about him being collaborative, and so I would say the collaboration and the humility together were outstanding through this process. Marcia, you in your foreword, you called the book a gift as well as a guide. And I thought that was a really interesting, of course it's a guide. It's a how-to manual in many ways, a sophisticated one. And it's a gift because of this idea that employees don't want to be directed, don't want to be told. And we've known that for decades. It's gets more critical all the time, but we've known it for decades. And yet it's very hard for leaders to coach. It's very hard for leaders to partner, listen, and reflect. And so this book is a credible source for not only how to do that, but why. So I'm grateful that it's out there and available now, Damian.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all of your support. And it's interesting because when I was translating it, I said to the people helping me with translation, I don't want any musts or shoulds. Don't edit or must shoulds, because I want it to be a guide, but I don't want to be prescriptive. I don't want to sound like, okay, you need to do that. You have to do this, but okay, this is what may be supportive or helpful, or what can make a difference in your work as a leader when you become a magnet for talent, because you are purposely and intentionally paying attention to how to develop your colleagues. So the next speaker is Joel, because part of the process, everything there is a step for everything. Then there is the step to get the review that you see in the back of the book. So then Neal asked me, okay, you need to get at least 10. and then we will select 3. So I had to ask a lot of people to read the book so they can prepare that. And well, we got the 10, and one was from Joel Girolamo, that was the one that was selected. And Joel, we know each other for many years. He got to work at the International Coaching Federation when I was in the global board, and I see Meryl because we were there together. And he was hired as a director of research. And I don't know how many years ago was that, probably 15? How many?
11.
11?
11.
11. And so we have collaborated over the years in many different projects. He was the co-editor of a book that we published on coaching supervision in the Americas, the first book on supervision with authors for supervisors from the Americas. And thank you for supporting me over the years and for doing this review. And we have you in the back of the book. And I ask you to say a few words too.
Sure, Damian, thank you. And yeah, thank you for everything you've done for ICF and for the coaching profession over the years. It's just been fantastic. So I have a little different perspective from what the other folks have been talking about. And Damian's book is very, very important. And it's not just for organizations. So we did some research at ICF in 2017, myself and Thomas Ketch primarily did this research. We published it in 2019, and it was on managers and leaders and how they used coaching skills. Now, we went into this research thinking that managers and leaders had coaching conversations, and then they had performance conversations and team conversations, and that sort of thing. And it was a mixed method study. So we did some interviews, we did a survey, and we came out of this study and we discovered what all of you, or most of you on this call know, and that is once you learn coaching skills, you use them in all conversations. And what I have been saying now for years is that coaching enhances dialogue. And that's what we see in this book. And so it's not just for leaders, it's for everyone. So we followed up, and after we did that research on managers and leaders using coaching skills, we came up with the idea of using coaching skills in all conversations by all employees and having behaviorally based coaching cultures in organizations. And you'll see more of that from ICF in the near future, in the coming year. But then we also, within the next study, we're like, okay, what do we do next? And we studied what I've been calling specialty coaching. And we, again, we went into this wondering, well, what is this about? And so we thought there was, from the managers and leaders research, we thought that there were the managers and leaders and all of us who use coaching skills informally, but then there were coaches who used coaching skills very formally in a very different, not very different, but a somewhat different fashion. So we went to do a study on specialty coaching. We studied sales coaching, health and wellness coaching, agile coaching, sports coaching, and business or leadership coaching. What we found was that the coaches, when they were in these specialties, that they were using these same techniques. They were doing it the same way. And so I had to throw my slides away. I had these slides that showed, coaching skills this way, coaching skills that way, and I had to throw all that away, which was great because it was new stuff that we learned and helped us move the industry forward. And we're working on that research paper now. So that's why this book is really important. And I think in terms of the two chapters, the one on listening and the continuous learning and evoking awareness, that's the heart, to me, that's the heart of what I see. Everybody has a different perspective. Damian, I want to applaud you. And I said this in the endorsement or whatever it's called on the back, that the language in the book is very accessible. And so, anyone can read your book, anyone can get a lot out of it, and it can help us. And so I think in terms of helping us to apply coaching skills in all conversations, again, it enhances dialogue. And that's something that we need in the world today more than ever. And as I say frequently, maybe it will help to get us to world peace. So thank you, Damian.
Thank you. That was great to have you here, getting your support. And it's interesting because what you find out in research that coaching help in all conversations. I think I knew it intuitively when I got everybody in my family to go through coaching training, and it did work out. I think it did work out. So let's hear from Christy. Christy, she has been supporting me with all of the marketing of the book, supporting me in finding strategies, providing ideas, and I asked her also to say a few words from Berrett-Koehler.
Thank you, Damian, and congratulations on launch day. It's been really important to get to work on his book. It's a beautiful book. And, marketing is so important in this book launch process because so many people think that a great book and great ideas come into the world and they find their audience and that's the end. And they don't. They need a village to find their audience. And that's why it's so exciting to see all of you here because Damian obviously has this village around him. And I'm going to talk to you about ways you can continue to support him and support the book. And there are three main ways. Number one, I saw a lot of you hold up a copy. I hope you've purchased a copy. If not, go purchase a copy of the book, whether you have one for yourself or give it to someone you know who could really benefit from the book. That is a fantastic way to support the book. Another fantastic way is to tell people about this book. Recommendations are the number one ways people buy books, personal recommendations. So tell your friends, tell people at work, put it in your email newsletters, put it in your social media. Those are all fantastic ways to support the book and let these ideas really circulate in the world. And the third way is reviews. I know some of you have written books. Many of you are in this book world, and you know that reviews become really, really critical to keep a book afloat, keep it in search. The days where we go to a bookstore and just browse and discover great books are fewer than they used to be. Most of us are browsing online, so those reviews are really important. So those of you who have a book, who are getting a book soon, if you would consider leaving a review where you buy books, that could be really, really beneficial for the book. Your support, your word of mouth is critical. This is a really terrific book. It's going to impact a lot of lives, but we need the help of the village to make sure that it reaches people who can really benefit from it and really help continue this positive transformation of business leadership that coaching has started in our country and that Damian's been a big part of in his role in the coaching world. So it's been a pleasure, Damian. We still have 2 more months of meetings. So the marketing is not over. There's more to come. But I appreciate this opportunity to support you in this fantastic book and to be here today. And thank you all for your support as well. We really, really appreciate it. Thanks, Damian.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your support and guidance in the marketing piece. As you can see, there are all of the different parts moving, and it's a lot of work. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, this is a baby. It's like, it's here today, the launch day, and it's rewarding. It's rewarding because it's hard work. But then when you see the book and you know that it can contribute and make a difference, it's really nice experience. When I was 10 years old, I remember I was in a car driving with a friend and his parents, and the parents asked us, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be a writer." And at that time, I really like to read. So because I really like to read, I said, "Okay, I want to be a writer." And remember that they look at each other like something was wrong. Like a 10 years old would say, "Okay, I want to be a writer." It's kind of not very common. And well, I think that was in the background for all of these years. And I became a psychologist first, coach later, but the writer was always there. And it's interesting because I don't think I am a great writer. I think I am a good trainer. And some of you have experienced me as a trainer. And I know I am very passionate about the training, and I put 100% of myself in training and teaching. But as a writer, I think I still can improve. And at the end of the book, when the book was going to come out, I panicked and I said, Neal, I don't know. It sounds like you're reading a book with somebody from an accent. That English is not the first language. And he said, okay, that's it. You are English is not your first language, and people will notice, and that's okay. And I said, no, no, I don't want people to know that. And I said, okay, this is the way it is. So when you read the book, you may find some of that, and it's okay. This is part of who I am and how I speak. But what Joel said about the language, I think that's important to me because all of my books I have written clearly and in a language that is easy to understand to anybody. In Argentina, where I am from, when I studied psychology, at that time and I was in my 20s, and there was a very famous psychoanalyst called Lacan, and this is what we studied. And I was reading it, I didn't understand anything. And I was going to my mother and my father, who were psychologists, and I was asking, please help me to understand what is said here. And they said, we cannot understand either what is in here. And so I never wanted to produce anything like that. I wanted always to be clear and easy to understand. So I'm glad, Joel, that you say that. So we have a few minutes now for questions and answers. So these last few minutes, if you have a question, or if you have read it and you have a comment, it's just more like an interaction for a few minutes before we wrap up. But if anybody wants to say anything, this is just everybody who are here are my friends, my family, my colleagues, people that my clients, people that I really care very much. So I am very happy to see you here. So let's see, anybody have a question or comment or anything you want to share?
I can go.
Yeah.
So, hola, Damian, like you mentioned, we met about 30 years ago in 1995, and you were doing your internship on your master's program. And little did I know that I was meeting a man who many years later would have written almost a dozen books, this, international global impact that you have. And I'm like, oh man, I should have just stuck around with this man and go everywhere he went, and maybe I could have learned quite a few things many decades ago. But I'm just so happy that you're part of my life and also part of the lives of so many people here. I I sit at my typewriter. I'm sorry, my laptop. I'm dating myself, and I go like, oh yeah, I think I want to write something. And after 2 pages, I'm like, oh no, I just can't do this. So I have total admiration, for you. 11 books, my God, that is not only mastery, but it's also such a contribution to the field, contribution to, to people who want to make a difference in their lives and in the lives of so many others. So I am very proud to call you a friend, a mentor, and thank you so much for doing what you're doing. And we're looking forward to your book number 12, La Docena.
Thank you. Thank you for your support over all of these years.
Damian,
Yes.
Meryl here. Hello, my friend.
Hey.
So, yes, I didn't know you were going to be such an author. I didn't know you would live through your ICF experience. So we didn't know that you would be able to do that. So as I'm thinking here, it's always good to hear someone, well, first of all, so many people, including me, read business books, quote unquote, read business books while we're driving to clients. So I'm hoping that you're going to have an audible version of it or some kind of thing where we can listen to the book as well, or people can. But the thing I first thought of is, wouldn't it be great for you to do like a book group with leaders who have read this? So if we all give everybody a copy of this book, our clients, wouldn't that be nice if they could attend a book group with you and just talk about, why you wrote it and what, just kind of like what you did with us. But you're talking here to the already converted. And so this would be to an audience that's not converted yet. So there is an audiobook. Oh, thank you, Christy. Glad to know that. I didn't see that yet. So good to hear. But this other idea of actually speaking directly to leaders would be, I mean, I would send people that I give the book to a book group like that, like a one-time book group to have people talk about it.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea. So thank you, and I will make it happen. So
All right.
you know
Just let
me.
us know. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thanks a lot. Senarvir.
Yes, thank you to Muriel to saying that because the next book club is about your book. So on September the 29th, I'm going to put it in the chat box. The book club is about Damian books. And congratulations.
Thank you. And this book club is part of the America's Coaching Supervision Network. That is a network that I developed with Lily Zero. And now I think it's 8 years old. And I don't remember if that was Inga or who asked me, why don't we have a book club or something like that? And I said, okay, let's make it happen. And you started with that with that book club, and now it's 2 years old or three. I don't know how many years you have been doing this.
It is almost 4, Damian.
Wow, time flies. Okay, so that was great. So if you can put it there so people can come and learn more about the content of the book.
I will
That's
put
great.
it in the chat box, definitely, yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else want to have a question? Any questions about the book or the process? I know several people here who can be amazing authors. So if you have in your mind a book, maybe, I'm happy to support you. You can ask for any guidance and support. Reggie.
Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon, everyone else. Very, very briefly, you and I have already had conversation offline. So yes, congratulations to you. I'm one of the newer converts, or converts, however you want to say it. I did want to ask you some about this process, but I guess for everyone else, what was it about this particular publishing company that drove you to them for you to want to work with these folks?
Mhm.
Well, I would say the number one is Marcia's. Well, I talk to different people. So you talk to people who have published books, and you ask people for their experiences. I have worked with 4 different publishers in the past in my books in Spanish and in English, and I have different experiences with everyone. But I wanted to have a different experience, and I think the advantage with BK, and I think I want to acknowledge here Akim. And I see here Liz also and Paul from we have a group that we meet and support each other. And we discuss our work and support each other with suggestions and ideas. And I think we discussed in one of our meetings what would be good publishers. So you hear from different colleagues. And also I talk to Marcia, you talk to your friends, people that you trust. And I asked Marcia, how was your experience? What would you recommend me working with them? And I think that the advantage is that you have a higher reach, but also there are a lot of conditions that you had to pay attention to. Like you get more collaboration. It is expected that you do a lot of things. I think more than with other publishers. It's my experience. They expect me to do more. Including having to buy 1,000 books. So that was part of the arrangement too. So, but I think at the end of the day, it's a worthwhile experience, and I highly recommend it. If anybody's looking for a publisher, I would highly recommend BK.
Okay. I'd like to add to that. Because it really was my honor to introduce Damian to Berrett-Koehler, but I've been with them now for 4 books, and Berrett-Koehler is one. I don't know of any other publisher that works by mission more than profit. That they have a mission to make a world that works for all, and they live by that mission. And you know that when they're working with you, that they're there to help you make a difference in the world, not just to sell books. And that, and that they have an authors co-op where they bring us all together and the authors get to know each other, and we support each other and the difference we're trying to make in the world. And it's a very, very special publisher out there. So I'm saying this not just, if you want to publish a book, but look at Berrett-Koehler books and see, it's amazing, the authors, and they're all people who are dedicated to making a difference. They wouldn't have hired or taken Damian on if they didn't feel his authenticity, his integrity, and the difference that he wanted to make in the world, not just like, is this a good book? And I can say that about Damian's book and the books that Berrett-Koehler publishes, they're not a huge publisher. So take a look at their website. They have a brand new website they launched today, and support Berrett-Koehler as a publisher, because all of the books are special books. And that's all I wanted to say.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, to add that.
Mhm.
Thank you for your question, Reggie. Any last question before we go? Or comment? Or anything you want to say?
I put this in the chat, but I think that there are a lot of aspiring authors. And so it was nice of you to say, Damian, that you had hesitation, even right down to the end of it all. So what's your final thoughts to motivate those of us that maybe like to speak rather than write?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because I feel that way too. I am a speaker. I get more energy by presenting than by sitting and writing. What helped me is thinking about the contribution. So you are not writing for your ego. You're writing because you have something to say and you want to be of service. So if you think that you're writing and what you're writing is going to contribute to other people, like our job does, we are coaches here. Most people are coaches here, means that we care about others. We want to support others. We want people to be more effective. We want them to be happier. And if you think that what you're going to write is going to contribute, then that give you the motivation. That you need to let go of the ego. It's not about looking good. It's not about making money. It is. I want to share something. Maybe for some people it is, yes. So I want to say some people make a lot of money through writing, but most of the time, for most people like us, it's more about being of service and contributing. And also in the process, we get some visibility, so people get to know our work. So you have to think from these two perspectives: from the perspective of how you can be of service, and how you can also have an opportunity for people to know what you think, what you do, how you work, so they can get to know you too. So these are so one process that I would do to write is to say, okay, particularly when you don't feel like writing, and I have what I did for years, because as I said, it's 11 books over the years. I will use Saturday mornings, 4 hours. Saturday mornings before writing. And sometimes I didn't feel like doing it. Even going to sleep Friday night, I said, "Oh, I don't want, I don't want to wake up tomorrow and having to do this." But I was there, like I did it. And I would get water, so I don't have any excuses to stand up and go to look for water. I will get the water, I will sit, and I will just write, and I know I have 4 hours. And sometimes I was very productive, and sometimes I was not. But it requires discipline. It's interesting because this is a very common topic for coaching. People coming to you and say, I want to write a book. Any coaches here who have clients who have gone to you and ask you, okay, I want to write a book? Yeah, it's in their mind, but it requires discipline. It requires commitment. So if you really want to do it, it's like you have to have, it's like a PhD. Many people don't finish their doctorate because they don't have the discipline to go through all of the processes, all of the steps. So this is the same thing, because you're accountable to yourself. You're not accountable to anybody else. There are exceptions, like Marcia, who wrote several books. She had deadlines from BK for her books, but if you're not a star, you're just accountable to yourself. So basically, Liz, what I would suggest is work with a coach. Get the coach to support you. through the process, so you can make it happen.
That's great. Service and discipline. Thank you for that.
Yes. Last question before we go. Last question or comment?
Do you hear me?
Okay, so in that case, I want to thank. Yes, Ariel, my brother. Okay, go ahead. Do you want to say it in Spanish and I will translate for you?
Let me try to say in English because I'm so proud to hear you. I'm so proud to be your brother. Not only my brother, my friend, my mentor, my master, and hear how many colleagues and friends loves you, because I know, and you know, Damian is the same person as a professional, as a human being with the family, and transmit all the proud that I say when I say I love you.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Even English is, I don't know, I'm a little bit emotional, so it's okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. It meant a lot that you came. And all of my two brothers are here. Esteban too. He's not on camera. And my family here, they have been very supportive. So thank you all of. Muchas gracias a todos los miembros de mi familia que están aquí, mis padres, mis hermanos. Y a mis amigos que están aquí también. Los reconocí a algunos, pero no a todos. Pero gracias. Gracias a todos. Thanks everybody for being here with me. I hope you enjoy the book. And let's be in touch. And as Christy said at the end, if you can write a review, that will make a big difference at the end of the day. So thank you for doing that. So thanks everybody for being here. Take care. Thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye. Congratulations, Damian.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.